Good.
Cool.
Yeah, I think we're going live. Over to you, Helena.
Are we live? Where did that little countdown thingy not
Oh,
happening?
shit. I didn't do the countdown thingy. Sorry.
Not the same, David.
I'm not with it. I'm not with it.
Ta-da!
There's the countdown thingy.
Beautiful, David. Beautiful.
Now I feel like I've kind of landed. Kind of. So I think let's check in just so that we can land in the space. And the check-in question for today is there's two, but we're going to take it one at a time. So what would you like about your life at the moment, today? What would you like to change about your life, if anything? Or what would you like to change about this moment? If there was one thing you could change, what would that be? Okay, three. Three things. We'll give you three wishes. And I think I will start just because nothing comes to mind. So the first thing I will change is I will feel more present and more intelligent. One. Number two, I would know what my living arrangement is going to be like for the next year. It's still up in the air. We're still looking for another half sharing person. And three, world peace. Sorry, that's terrible. I think I would like to know that I'm as effective as I could be in my work. And I'm going to hand it to Bongile.
Yeah, I think I was missing you there and there. What do I want to change in my life?
You could have three things.
Yeah. Getting triggered at times, my trigger points. Just taking charge of that space. I would like to change also the level of awareness that awareness in relation to that, because sometimes I'm not aware. And it makes it difficult for me to control or to be in charge in situations where I can be triggered. And may not necessarily be good for my mission, the 1,000 Circles mission. And what else do I want to change? I don't know. I don't know the third one. I'll think about it. When it comes, I'll say it. Yeah. Emma.
You stole one of mine. I was going to say triggers too, Bongile. I definitely
Sorry?
wish I could. I was going to do the trigger one too. I definitely wish I could handle my triggers much better and have an amazing ability to just come right down quicker.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, I'd like to handle all my emotions better. I'd like to be able the ability to stay with emotions and just allow them and not always find distractions because it just I know that doesn't help me grow really. And I think I would like to be able to fix some of my personal relationships that have gone awry, particularly with my siblings. That's 3. Yeah. Oh, David.
So I'll just copy and paste this to people that are watching. The 3 things that you'd like to change in your life. I had a conversation with my mother last night, and my mother's by herself in a place called Frinton in the UK, and it might be the last Christmas I ever have. I might never see her again, just because, you know, COVID and the conversation came up, what if I die? So I just was thinking about my mum kind of dying by herself in the UK. That makes me quite tearful. Um, and I've really wanted her to be proud of me. You know, that's been my work. My personal work is to have my mum proud of me, and she is. So if she was to die, as macabre as it sounds, at least I would know she died feeling proud of me. True. So that's quite a. So I'm not sure what next. Yeah. So I've done a lot of changing. I've done a. So I would think maybe. I mean, I'm really like been working on my health while I'm down here in Cape Town and connecting with my kids and trying to work on that sort of stuff. But I've got some strange relationships with my children still that I would like to, yeah, just have deeper conversations about when they're ready. Yeah. So I'm in with that.
I guess it'd be me then. um, yeah, one of the things that came to my, I mean, for a while here, I was sitting thinking, whilst there's some things I could think that I might like to change, I sort of wouldn't like to change them because I'm learning from them. There's some things that have been uncomfortable. But one thing I would like to be able to change that relates to my mother as well, who's been displaced from her little home a week ago through, we've had some pretty heavy rain here and she got some flooding in there. So, you know, her life's not in danger or anything like that, but she's been displaced. We were going to have Christmas dinner at her place and she was looking forward to doing that. So if I could change that situation for her and get her place sorted and back in there for Christmas, I would, but I can't do that at all. So I would like that to change. There's been new COVID restrictions that have arrived in the last week, and it's really impacted. I'm feeling a lot more fear in our community and the community. I'm not in my home community right now. So what I'd like to change there would that I'd just like to feel more love and trust in my communities that I move around in, or in the world, and an ability to stand with each other and believe, and not to have so much fear driving the thing. You know, there's just fear. I just feel the fear everywhere. And what else? The third thing. Yeah, I mean, I've put myself through some suffering the last couple of days through the old thing of going back into a thought process around things that I've done before. It might be next level, but it's like I go, fuck, I've fucking been here. I thought I was done with this, and here I am back doing it again. And because it had been, and I managed to move that into a guilty place as well, because I'm working with clients and I felt that I shouldn't be feeling that. But of course, as soon as and I'm saying on the one hand I'd like that to change, on the other hand it was great because I had to bust myself. I had to be honest about it. I had to look at it. So I haven't got a third thing. I'm in with that.
Thank you. I'm very aware how the container has, for me personally, grown a little bit more compact. If I look at how scattered I was when I checked in, and now how there's like and okay, I can actually come at this question from another space. And just to bring it back to the learning around check-ins, for me there's like something about having a check-in that speaks to what we're going to be doing as a group in a dialogue, because in a way it sets the dialogue. But sometimes one's got to take a decision in the moment because of the energy that's in the group. And my sense is there's quite a lot of learning pieces today around the different modes, and to go into that quite distracted and disconnected. It just felt like it would be very hard for me to land that piece and feel that we were already in it. So that's why I looked at this check-in question and the next one, which is just going to be, so you can keep one thing about your life. Or maybe not even that. What's the one thing you're really proud of? And as a check-in question, it's really bringing us here with each other so we can be present. So the learning that we do together can come alive rather than it's just something we need to get through because we've agreed on it. I don't know if that makes sense. So just there's different reasons why one would check in and not always to set the tone for something. So one thing in your life you're proud of. David? So I'm going to go take the risk and go first again. The reason being I find I get such a better sense of where I want to go when I listen to everyone else. And I'm going to do it anyway. One thing I'm really proud of is, sweet Jesus, I'm not lying dead in my parents' backyard. You know what I mean? Like every now and again, like the last straw for my parents was they literally found me in their backyard behind a tree in an overturned chair, like blue in the face. They had to rush me to hospital. I think I'm not going to go into more details since we're live, but not a very dignified position to be found in. And every now and again I think, fuck, yeah, I'm struggling with triggers. I could probably be a better mom. I could be more confident in my work. I could charge more money. All of those things, but Jesus, compared to what I started with and where I am now, I'm proud of my, there's a word for it. It's like when you keep on going. It's not obstinacy, it's not resilience, it's something else. I don't know. But yeah, I'm proud of that.
Stamina.
Persistent.
Persistent stamina, yes. Both of them. So with that, I'm completely in, and I'm going to hand it to you, David.
Hey,
So
I'm struggling. I'm really struggling to hear you guys.
Can you hear me now, Bonju?
I hear you guys, but it drags. I don't know what to do. Let me try to leave the studio and come back again.
Yeah.
So I'm enjoying Guy's birds in the background. That reminds me of Australia. So I'm staying with with Jack, yeah, who's 26 years old, and I'm staying in a house in Friedehoek. It's a 3-bedroom house. It's lovely, and I brought this kid up as best I could. And where he was, when you talk about turning blue in a chair, to go from that space with kids running around in dirty nappies or not having money for nappies to where he is now is, yes. So when you bought that vision, Helena, that really kind of made me proud of how far I have come, and what I have done and what I have achieved. So I'll hand over to Guy.
Thanks, David. One thing that I'm proud of is that I keep showing up. That even that was a bug crawling across the camera. A little green bug. Thinking, what was going on then? Now I can see the little green bug just crawled across the camera just for you. That was a close-up of the underside. I'm proud of the fact that I haven't that I keep showing up. That there's been times over the last few years since turning around my major addictions that I've been very close to. I mean, I've relapsed a few times in that area, but I haven't gone back into full addiction. So I'm proud of that. That I'm still here, and that I'm still I'm proud of the fact that I continue to learn, and that I'm loving being in a more loving space. And that's to do with my name, actually. My name change is like a constant reminder for me that I've chosen to be a man of love now, and that I bring love into the equation for me and for others all the time. So I'm proud of having had the courage to do that and to be living that now. And that'll do for me. And I'll hand it to Emma.
My first instinct was my daughter. Definitely most proud of her, and how amazing she is, despite all the things that she's been through and I've put her through. But I think more than that, I am really proud of the strength I've found in myself. The strength to get sober and to stay sober. I had a relapse. My mum died. But I'm finding as I go along, I'm really much stronger than I ever really understood, because I always felt so weak when I couldn't resist drugs and alcohol. So it's a nice kind of realization that I actually am much stronger than I realized, and I am able to get through a lot of adversity this year. Yeah, so I think I'm proud most of that. Bongile.
So I'm struggling. I guess we're talking about what are we proud of, right? Hello?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me see. What am I proud of? Yeah, I'm proud of. I think I'm proud of myself for having made so much progress in my own work as Bongile. You know, that every day is it's just a new day of self-discovery. You know, um, and growth in my journey of of achieving my mission. You know. Um, yes, I'm proud of. Yeah, funny enough, Emma, me and you today are together. You know, of my daughter. I was with my daughter for the past 2 weeks. You know, yeah, that she's going to be like she says, she's not a small girl. She's a big girl. You know, she questions me about everything, and I see myself in her in most things she does. You know, her inquisitive self and her zeal for life. You know, something that I think uh, this planet had almost killed in me. You know. That when I see that, it's like it reignites mine. So I'm really proud of her for doing that. Um, yeah, I think that's about it for me.
Thank you, Bongile.
Yeah.
And David, I've just noticed that I've turned into 1,000 circles because Bongile has moved space. We might well. There you go. Okay, so welcome everyone, and thank you for that. It's really, really.
David, you are the magician today.
Can you make it so that I'm mirrored, so that when I wave that hand on the other side, because it's really fucking confusing.
It's really confusing. I agree, Guy. I'm completely
In my,
confused by that.
why is my hand over here when it should be over there? It's actually over there.
Exactly.
That's still not right. But it's bigger. Thanks.
I think the beauty about this is that it shows you how much everything changing in our world, that we are almost not conscious of the impact of that in our lives, the positioning, you know, that yeah, we get impacted by positions, you know, or I get impacted by position, or my judgment is that I see that the circle has been impacted by that. Yeah, I'm interested to know what was under the because we're laughing about it. There's some nice giggle under that, you know, which is beautiful. Yeah.
So from my side, a part of me just wants to go there, Bongile, and a part of me knows that we've got to get. I really like to bring this thing around the modules, and I think that perhaps we could use it to unpack what you're saying. So allow me to lead you in, and then we'll play with it as it goes along. So the thing with the module, the modes, not the modules. The thing with the modes is to see that there's different ways that people can be together as a group, and there's a dog outside. So
That's somebody who's watching. That's their answer to the question.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
so I just thought I'd throw that in. So, you know, just to connect people that might be watching. And we've no idea what people are going through as they watch this stuff. Yeah. So, yeah. And Helena, I just want to kind of honor you for putting this together anyway. Yeah. And that we kind of broadcast this stuff, even though our arms are left and right and all that stuff. It's still pretty fucking amazing what we're doing.
Yeah.
And here's what Lauren's answer is. So those questions that you're asking, yeah, are going out there, yeah. And I know Bongile's been wanting to kind of create 1,000 circles where people sit in circle and have conversations that bring change. And this is what we're trying to learn from this space, yeah, and bringing everything together. So, yeah, and Helena, you're driving this.
Thank you, David. And it's good. I feel even more settled now because it's that reminder that I can take care in what I say, and I can also know that it's being heard. So I'm going to look at the modes just briefly so that we just get a sense where we're going. So we've got different modes, and the idea is that there's different ways for groups to be together. There's not one right way, and understanding the different options helps us decide as a group or as a facilitator which one we want to use for what purpose. So the first one is monologue, and monologue's got a bad rap. Yet, what I'm doing now is monologue. When you need to get information across to a group of people before they can make a decision, you don't want to immediately go into discussion. You want to be clear. I'm going to have a monologue. I'm going to give you some information. And you could ask people to signal. I often do this with my daughter. If I'm losing you, if the monologue's getting too long, if it's too much information, please signal me. Please ask me to slow down. Please, I've had enough. I want to discuss what you've said first. So there's something around as monologue, really holding the power that you have and the privilege of being the one speaking and everyone else having to listen. Recognizing what is the purpose of the monologue, so you stick to that, and recognizing that it's a gift. It's a gift that you're receiving, that people are listening. It's a gift that you're giving someone something that they don't know. So to be very concise and to see it as a gift and to hold it carefully. Then after monologue, we get debate, and as a group, we're going to play with debate. Now, the thing with debate is you're trying to beat your opponent down. So it's not a careful conversation. It's about who's going to win, and that's your aim. Why you would introduce debate into a group is often groups are too polite, or there's something, everyone say you're working with a community. Everybody in the community knows that something's going on, but nobody wants to be the one that surfaces it. So having a purposeful debate where you allow people to actually take two polarities and fight about it helps to surface things that people wouldn't normally feel courageous enough to say, because it almost becomes a game where you can really go for it, and it's encouraged. So there's a freedom to that. The thing with debate is to also, just for me personally, there's something around setting the container and also giving people the chance to signal if it gets too much. And being clear about what's being done, being clear about what are the definite polarities that's being raised. So there's something about holding that container still. And we're going to play with debate a bit. And I think then you get discussion. So discussion would be where you discuss, for instance, what came out of the debate. And I'm now having a monologue. So if it gets too much for any of you, you want to pause or ask a question, just wave at me. Or just interrupt, actually.
Let
So
me
the-
interrupt.
Please do.
Yep. And what I want to interrupt in is to bring it back to kind of what we've overall contracted over this period of time to learn how to have these types of discussions. Okay, so I'm hearing it's monologue, debate, and what's the third one?
The third one, discussion.
Okay, cool. All right. And when we're debating, that's a way of bringing up contentious conversations that can cause polarity. Yeah. So, for example, in American politics at the moment, there's a whole lot of polarity. Yeah. There's like you're either this or you're that. And and I can think of lots and lots of debates that kind of just go round and round and round and round. Yeah. So for me, one debate that I'm tired of arguing about is whether drugs should be legal or not legal. Yeah. That's that's something that like fuck, I've moved on from that. Just come and if you want to come and discuss what next post the war on drugs, let's sit down and do that. And that's something that I'm passionate about. So I just wanted to capture that. Have I got it right?
Yes. And the thing with debate is I wouldn't enter into a debate about something that's clearly a topic that everyone's debating. So when there's a debate and people are locked, I would choose another mode. I would choose another mode and I would see how could I lead people from debate into dialogue. Because dialogue allows you to see the other opinion. That's really the ultimate purpose with dialogue, is to be able to live with more than one view and be okay with your view, but actually be okay with the other person's view as well. And respect that view, even though it's not your view, would be one of the things.
All right. So so you're in a polarized debate. Yeah. You want to have a discussion about it. And the tool of dialogue is to get the people from this side of the room to come over to this side of the room and to feel what that's like and to dialogue about that.
Sort of. My sense is let's do it. Let's
Okay.
practice it in a sense, rather than it feels like the time for monologue is over. So what I'm going to suggest we do, let me just look at the time, is we have a short debate, like 5 minutes, to see what's here for us. And then what we do is we swap around. And then we'll take it through discussion, conversation, skillful conversation, and into dialogue. So we can actually experience the differences rather than me talking about it. How does that sit with everyone?
Mm-hmm.
So me personally, I'm getting excited.
So the first thing we need to do is pick a topic. And it needs to be a topic that's alive in the room. So the way one would do it in the dialogue style that I'm trained is every person would bring a topic and then we would vote. And we want to keep this process shortish because we don't have a lot of time together. But that's to make sure that we're speaking to what's most alive for everyone in the room. Yes,
Helena, I'm going to ask you to follow, for purposes of my struggle here with hearing, please type some of these modalities on the chat so that I can follow here.
I need to deal with my spelling. Thanks, Bongile. Monologue. Monologue. That's how you spell it. I don't have a spell check, you see, in this little window. Monologue, debate. So we're about to go into debate now.
Yeah, debate is.
And then what's next after that? Discussion, is it? Or then something else?
Discussion. Conversation. Skillful conversation. Dialogue. Generative. Okay, there we go. So monologue, debate, discussion, conversation, skillful conversation, dialogue, and generative dialogue. Now we've got a very little bit of time, so we would probably need 2 hours just for a generative dialogue. So we're just getting a taste of it, and then in our next session, we can spend more time. So what we're going to do now is we are going to have a debate. Can each person suggest a polarity? Okay, maybe type your polarity for Wangili, and I'm going to start. I've noticed this theme, and we had it last week, but it's one that's very alive in my life right now. It's something around what's more important, safety or authenticity? Safety. So that's my one. So I'm going to hand it Emma. Do you have something that you would like to propose?
Well, I couldn't really think of something. I could think of a contentious topic if that works. And that would be whether to take the what's the word? The medicine for the COVID. Take the
vaccine.
The vaccine. But I'm not that invested in it. But it's a contentious topic I can think of.
Well, let's see what's up to the group. Do we vaccinate or not? David.
I could go with that discussion. I have a dialogue around it. I liked the contentious topics that I can think of thousands of them. So I'd actually like to just hang back and see what comes up.
Gaia?
Okay. I'm a bit blank. I mean, I was going to talk about the coronavirus compulsory vaccination because that's something that's been in my face, and whether it should be compulsory or not. We've got that already. So I'm just coming up blank at the moment. I got a bit of a charge around your question earlier, David, around should drugs be legal or illegal? Should drug use be legal or illegal? So I'll go with that.
Okay, so I'm just typing it. Should drugs be legal or
Helena, do you have access to the comments?
I don't.
Oh shit. Okay, that's why I'm all right. So I'm just administering here as well. Okay, keep going. Sorry.
Bongile? Is there something sitting with you?
I don't know. There's something sitting with me, but I don't know how to put it in words. I wish you guys can just read my mind. Yeah, authenticity, right? I think we spoke to safety, and surviving in reality. In other words, honesty and honesty in relation to the work that we do and the reality in the world. I don't know if it makes sense.
So what I'm understanding is it's something around, it's one thing to be authentic, but there's times when to be effective, or even just to be part of a culture or a structure or a community or a company, you can't be authentic. There's something around.
Yes, in other words, in other instances of the world, or in maybe in other circles that I find myself in, when one is being authentic, honest, one becomes too foreign, and to a point of one becoming unsuccessful because you are too honest, you are too authentic. Oh, I'm too authentic, I'm too honest, because of this work. And now, for me to succeed in those spaces, I almost have to conform to the realities of those cultures. Yeah.
So I've got honesty or authenticity versus conforming in order to
succeed.
Okay, so what we're going to do?
Sounds like an essay, yeah?
It does. We're going to vote. So you can vote more than once. So we're going to now decide on a topic, and we're going to vote. Are you with me, Bongile? Could you follow that?
Amandla, yeah.
Okay, so let's go. Who would like to debate safety versus authenticity? Okay, I'm with that one, but I'm the only one. Okay, so how about, do we vaccinate or not? Vaccinate or not? Okay, so David wants that one.
I can be there. I can add there. Yeah.
Okay, so 4 of that one. Should drugs be legal or illegal? 2 of that one. And honesty versus 3 of that one. Honesty versus conforming in order to succeed. I'll do that one. There's a 3, 4 of that one. Okay. So it's a toss-up between do we vaccinate or not, and honesty versus conforming in order to succeed. So I just want you to really check in with yourself. We've got just over half an hour for this. What do you want to spend your next half an hour debating? What would serve you best in your life right now? And remember, we're doing a debate. So what would serve you to know what others in the group are going to suspend their feelings about? Okay, so here we go. Everyone who wants to do, should we vaccinate or not? You can raise your hand. Okay, so honesty versus conforming in order to succeed.
I should have just been the 5th on that one in the first place.
So I'm loving the process of distilling down and allowing all the voices to come, because often my passion just says we're going this way unconsciously. So I just wanted to catch that. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, it makes me confident that I'm actually talking about something that people want to talk about. If I just came up with a topic, there's something in the back of my head all the time that's second guessing myself. And that's letting people get away with all kinds of behavior because I feel like I led them somewhere where they might not want to go. With that being said, I'm going to drop the monologue. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Choose your position. What do you think should be your default? Is it better to rather be honest and risk losing support? Or is it better to conform and hold on to your honest opinion? Does those two polarities make sense to everyone?
Yeah.
Okay, so who's with better to conform? I'll go with that one. There has to be a debate on this, so someone's got to go with it. So I'm going to go with sometimes it's better to not show all your cards immediately. So you've got the buy-in, and now I'm going to argue my point, and then you guys can argue with me and see if someone wants to join me. So the way I see it, there's a kind of an arrogance in honesty or authenticity if it's not matched to what is happening for a group. So it's like saying, I actually know better than you what you are ready to hear. So there's for me something around forcing people to listen to me when they're not really wanting to or ready to do so. I think it's actually not cool just blurting whatever I'm feeling without taking any responsibility for land. So all you guys need to do is argue with me or agree with me. This is all that needs to happen at this stage. And anyone can go.
So I agree with you and I disagree with you. And the agreement and the disagreement is my personal experience and then the institutional role that I carry. So just to give that some context, my personal experience with complete abstinence when it comes to addiction treatment, I need to preach that message. But there's been times in my own personal journey where I've slipped back and haven't been able to practice what I preach. And then to go and get honest about that would have an impact institutionally. So for a metaphor, it would be like a priest preaching to a congregation and then questioning whether God exists or not. And I can't go to the congregation and say, guys, I've changed my mind. God doesn't exist because I'm having a crisis of faith.
Mm. And yet I'm going to trust that priest a lot more if he comes out and tells me that he's having a crisis of faith. For me, so I think the strength is in honesty. As soon as if I start compromising my truth in order to get an outcome, I'm immediately out of integrity with myself, and I start to feel a sense of shame because I know that I'm can't think of the right word. I know that I'm selling myself short, prostituting myself is what it feels like. So I'm making a conscious decision to not speak my truth because of an outcome I want to get. And I've done that plenty of times and I've done it quite successfully, but there's something in me now that comes up really strongly and goes, no, fuck that. I need to be honest about it. And even in your example, David, for me, the same thing. I understand the politics and the logic around why it would be really a risky business to come and bring that information back into the UAC container. But I think it would be, my personal view is it would be really powerful. like there was a bloke in Australia who was there was a leader of a church. He used a church example before, and there was a very big church here called Hillsong, set up by the father, and the father did the wrong, was caught out in some sort of sexual thing. And whereas other churches have often kept it quiet, he actually stepped up, took responsibility, stepped out, and I think it strengthened the whole. So he actually went with honesty rather than trying to keep it all under wraps. So I'm still going hard for honesty, no matter what.
I'm a little conflicted with this because I kind of agree with two different points of view. I personally I do feel it's very important for me to be authentic and honest and speak my truth. But I also feel that I should put my own personal feelings aside for the greater good of others. So I'm kind of leaning to both arguments.
But you've got to choose, Emma. So you sit in a room, sitting in a room, and there's something that's sitting in you, and you feel you're being completely out of authenticity with yourself, out of integrity, and you have to choose.
Okay.
You're either going to speak or you're going to stay silent.
Okay, then I go with the consideration of a larger group over mine. That's your argument, Helena.
Should I come in?
Yeah, it's your topic, Bongi.
Okay. I think for me, it's two-folded. Not even two-folded, many-folded. In my family, having done this work, I've become very honest and authentic at times. Authentic most times. That I find that the minute that I go into those spaces, I find myself in conflict with the norm, and that it's either I'm in or I'm out. And in many instances, I want to succeed in making sure that my entire family maybe achieves the vision of being well off, And I think another situation would be if, let's say, in relation to our government now, you're telling me that if Ramaphosa knows that the vaccine might kill some people and it's got evidence about that, all right, can he honestly come share it with the nation if they are doing trials on that when he knows that the vaccine is needed? Does he become honest about it? Or does he keep the truth in order for his campaign as the president or the ANC president to be successful? Another example would be if I'm a pilot, or not a pilot, many guys that have succeeded knowing the truth of the danger, let's say, of the weather as pilots, and they end up landing on the other side, they are celebrated when others will fail by not sharing the truth. So I see it in many facets, but I think the truth is that my challenge in my life is that it's very hard to succeed in what I do when I'm being honest. Like I work in, I'm sometimes finding myself having to work with with a number of people from different organizations, public, private, who don't work honestly, so, or who may not do things uh, in the honest that I know, you know, and that sometimes if I call them to order, I might be losing. I'll be losing to achieve this mission that I want to achieve, 1,000 circles. You know, and then I sit there and say, what do I do? Do I do the right thing in relation to my, just in order to allow my, in order for me to achieve my mission, or do I just say no? This is not on. Mandela used to say this. I remember Mandela said something like, if a man's principles change uh, because of who he's talking to, you mustn't trust that person. So, so I guess it takes me back to that, because it seems like I need to be wishy-washy. Look at the situation and assess the situation. Can I be honest here, or mustn't I be honest? So I think that's what I'm throwing in the second. Yeah.
Can't hear you, Helena.
Sorry, it was because there was noise. So I'm going to pause this and I'm going to ask you to check in with yourself. How are you feeling right now? So I'm aware my heart's beating. Like I was getting impatient with Bongile because I wanted him to shush so that I could now get my point across again, which was fighting for this other thing. There's a part of me that wants to wrestle, control, and make the thing even more emotional, so that there's a good battle. So I can feel I'm triggered. So, and I want to go for the fight, but I'm not sure what I'm fighting about. So it's confusing. I'm very aware. The other thing that I just want to mention is that we are a group of people who's very trained at seeing both points of view. So we are actually the right group for dialogue, for debate. So we can really maybe suspend some of the things that we hold. That maybe we're just like 2% more on the one than the other, or not. I don't know. But there's something for me around that. And then there's the anxiety because, oh my God, we've only got so much time and I don't know if this is an exciting live stream for everyone. So I'm triggered.
Well, don't worry, nobody's fucking watching, so it's just us. So we might as well just make the most of it. Yeah.
So how's everyone else? Are we still debating? Are you feeling strongly about what we're talking about?
So just to say, like, there's nobody watching. Yeah, that's often the thing that makes up my thinking. The fact of, like, fuck, am I being watched? Am I going to be judged? Am I going to be caught out? Is somebody going to? So there's this thing around me that I wrestle with. Yeah. And there's many different points that I can. So in my own work experience, for me to get honest, yeah, about it, might impact my business, which would impact my family. And if my family go without food or something, and I can't provide for them, that's going to have a bigger fucking knock-on effect for me.
Yeah, I second that, David. I think the other day we were having a conversation. Oh yes, I was doing an interview with some guy in the street who's selling he's selling cakes, So this guy, so we ended up having to have a discussion about the tuck shops, the tuck shop market that has been taken by most Somali guys and other guys, that are some of them are not South African, So I wanted to have an open discussion about that. So as I was having this discussion there, I couldn't have an authentic discussion about it because I started thinking that ish. Even now, earlier, I wanted to say something along the lines of other organizations, name them, you know. So I had to filter that and say it in a softer way. In case someone watches this, someone from those organizations watches this, it will not impact me and my life, you know. So it's a very difficult one.
Well, that's where the political kind of intelligence comes in around the roles and the relationships.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then I find myself editing stuff, and at times I can go out of integrity with some of my values. And then
Hmm.
I get a sense of feeling of shame. And then I know that I'm on the wrong side of the track. And I've got to find a way of bringing myself back out of the guilt and shame place. Yeah. I mean, just to make it about race, I used to have kind of guilt and shame about my whiteness, and that would cause me to edit my conversations. I
Yeah.
don't have that much anymore because I didn't realize how it was perpetrating and perpetuating the problem coming from a place of white guilt.
Hmm. And I think for me, yesterday I had a discussion. I was something that my sister did, right? And then I found myself just confronting her about it when I couldn't, and by being honest with her about the incident, it created a big havoc, you know, that I anticipated and I knew that it was going to happen. But I feel like there was almost like an expectation for me to not be authentic and honest with her, you know, and that it would have been okay for me to not be honest, so that life must carry on. Um, and I think also on the race issue that you just raised now, uh, I feel like we, especially in South Africa, we're not having open, honest conversations about our past as South African, especially when we're talking nation building. Uh, there's always this tiptoeing around race issues and how what we know our past, you know, as South Africa, we know what happened in the past. But I find that in other circles, people don't. It's like they don't want to be honest about it, and they don't want to talk about it. Even black people, even myself, you know, I find it hard to be honest because I feel like I might lose David as my friend for being honest about what his ancestors did to my people. Um, uh, you know. So I feel like it's very difficult to navigate that space because I might want I want her to have David as my friend, and I think we had this discussion the other day about the privilege that there's a carrot almost dangled. That hey, you know, you know, and because of the carrot, I reserve my honesty. Yeah, that's my input on this. Yeah. Mm.
So I'm going to pause it again, and I'm going to just take us. So we're not having a debate at this point, either because the conversation is not, I wanted to say contagious enough, but there's not enough charge for us. None of us feel strongly enough that our point of view is right. So just to bring it back to the learning, we're not having a debate. we started going into discussion where we started naming things. That went into conversation for me, Bongile, the minute you mentioned why you're doing something. So it's becoming more personal. So there's a sense of intimacy that wasn't there with the discussion about why you would do what you're doing. And now by me starting to name it, that conversation's becoming skillful. Or even by you naming the carrot. Can you see how you went from, I believe you have to be honest, which would be debate, into these are the reasons I'm not comfortable with it, which would be discussion, into conversation. We now are not just discussing facts, we're having a conversation with one another. And from there, we're now starting to look at skillful conversation. We're starting to name things about our conversation which seems out of sync. Or incongruous, I think is the right word. So I just want to pause it because I know we're at 2:45 and I feel like I'm not really successfully doing this whole thing. So I'm going to let you speak, David, and then we need to check in as a group where we're at.
Okay, so I just want to, and this is kind of at a personal level. So when Bongili says he's like holding back because somehow I've got a carrot that I'm dangling in front of him, I want to get curious of what that carrot is.
So
I don't fucking know what that carrot is.
I think that was just an example, you know. I don't know if you have. I don't know if you have carrot. You have a lot of. I don't know. I think in your case, I think the beauty about my relationship with you is that there aren't those carrots, but I know places in my life where I deal with whiteness that I will see carrots and want to play dumb and not honest, you know. Could be something that I need maybe for 1,000 seconds.
I just want to know what the carrot is that you think that I've got.
Not you. I don't. You don't have a carrot yourself.
Yeah,
don't have carrot.
no, but metaphorically inside you in the discussion, it's like I feel that I can't get honest in a way because there's this carrot that might get taken away. And if we were to talk about blackness and whiteness and my ancestors and how they've kind of gone around the world and raped and pillaged and colonized and created all this
Wow, this is beautiful. Yeah,
created all this stuff. On one level, you love me, but my ancestors caused a lot of shit. I'm kind of left with the burden of cleaning it up. Yeah. And you're left with like, fuck, I don't want to upset David because if I do, he's going to go away and not be helpful in cleaning up. I don't know. This is the story that I'm making up. So I just want to kind of get clear what my carrot is because I haven't got any fucking money to give anyone carrots. I haven't got any. I can't give people jobs. I can't. You know, what I can do is give a bit of my time to sit down and have some discussions.
Maybe that's your carrot, hey? Maybe I didn't see that. I forgot that there are other intangible carrots, you know, in your case. Where it's your time, it's your expertise, it's your network, it's your privilege, you know, there is a privilege, you know, you are privileged. You are more privileged than I am, I think, in terms of your network base. So I would imagine, obviously that when you inherit, your inheritance is not just financial. I think I'm thinking about it now. It's your whole network. But I didn't see it that way until now. You speak about it that you also have carrots. I don't know much about your carrots, but I know in my other world, there are carrots that I see that I'll sit there and say, do I should I be honest with this guy? You know, sometimes I take it into shadow. Yes.
Okay, so if I can come back in and
Mm-hmm.
just, when you say privilege, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I want to kind of say, well, fuck, my life isn't that privileged. It's quite
Mm-hmm.
burdened. Yeah. I don't
Mm-hmm.
have wealth. I have lots of debt. Yeah. The privilege that I've been put into a position of debt might be another discussion. Yeah. But that's what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah. There's a loneliness in my existence that makes me feel that I must shut up and keep quiet. And what have I got to complain about? So the assumption is that I've got it easy and that I'm privileged and yeah. But the burden that I kind of carry around this stuff is pretty fucking lonely at times. And when I do share my heart, it's the message I get is, "Oh fuck, what have you got to complain about?" So then it feels as if I must kind of keep quiet. So, but if you keep thinking that you can't be honest with me because I've got some sort of carrot that's going to say I'm not going to introduce Bongili to these networks, I've no idea what fucking networks you're talking about. You know, like like uh,
Yes. I think for me it's this. I hear you. You know, privilege. One big privilege for me is even getting debt. You know, being
yeah,
in business the way that I am, and being. I know, for instance, like even buying homes back in the days, even to date, banks wouldn't give me as a black person debt to buy a home, uh, which when I see many of my white friends in my circles, my age, they all have homes in um, in good suburbs, and not just homes in good suburbs, whether it was inheritance or the system enabling them to buy homes, or the system also enabling them to have business loans that are not as uh, uh, that are softer back in the days. It has created that privilege. And that for me. Hello, David.
yeah. I hear you. I mean, I want to call bullshit to what you're talking.
I don't know. I lost.
Yeah. So
Hello,
so
hello.
yeah, I'm here.
We can hear you. Okay. Okay, but I'm going to have to pause you guys because it's now 8 minutes
Oh, for
to.
fuck's sakes, we're just getting started.
And this is, so I need to
Oh,
check
I
in.
love it,
Does
man.
everyone have to leave 11 on the dot? So just hold on to it.
Can I
Claudia?
just ask a quick question?
Yeah, but wait, before we even go get questions, does anyone need to leave at 11? Because there's 7 minutes to 11. You've got to leave. You've got to leave. Okay, so you've got to leave. Okay, so we've got 7 minutes. So I'm not going to go with the question. I'm going to use my privilege as the monologue person. And I'm going to actually just bring us back to ourselves, check in with our learning. I think the first learning is you can't do this in an hour because it took us an hour to start getting honest. So if you want to know how to use this in your communities, there is something around taking into consideration that you need a lot of time before people get honest. So I'm just going to leave it with that. I'm very triggered right now. I'm triggered from so many sides. I'm hardly touching sides. So I'm just going to invite us to just count to 10 backwards. So if everyone can count from 10 to 1 backwards.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right, let me tell you, I've got some
You know how to play this game, David, don't you?
Davida. You're my privileged one, brother.
Are you all done?
So, yeah.
Yeah, we definitely can't do it in an hour. Because I want to get back on my hobby horse now as well.
You can't get on your hobby horse unless you want to check out on your hobby horse and go riding off on the 6 minutes. So I want to check in with each of you. What have you learned from today? And what can you appreciate about what you've seen? So each person's got 1 minute. What have you learned and or what can you appreciate about what happened? Because it feels very chaotic to me. I'm not going to start.
I'll start. Oh, David, you want to go?
Yeah, I want to go. I just want to get this off my chest. Yeah. I want to acknowledge when I came to Johannesburg when I was 30 years old as a white male, I was a good bet for banks to lend me money once I had a job that enabled me to get a house, to get a bond. So once I had that privilege, once I learned that that was a liability and I educated myself around money, I was able to build perceived wealth by generating more debt. Nowadays, as a 54-year-old male, I am seen as a liability and I don't have that privilege anymore. I check out with that.
Thank you.
Thank you for honesty.
I'll go. I'm checking out. Yeah, checking out with gratitude. I think what I learned. I think I know what I learned was the difference between a debate and a discussion. Assuming that it went from debate to discussion back to debate. If I understood that correctly, yeah. And what I liked was that it was done respectfully, even though it started to get a little heated. There was respect all the way through. There wasn't a lack of respect. So I thought I didn't find it so chaotic. I guess I thought it was quite organized and contained.
I think I am checking out with gratitude. That yeah, we can basically have these honest conversations, you know, and also to have picked that topic for discussion. I think it lays the ground well for this tackle, you know, in terms of being open and honest. I think I've been open and honest with David for a long time, you know, as someone that as an elder that is guiding me, you know. So it's beautiful that I can have other people whom I can be honest with that are not my race, you know. Yeah, so and I think it feeds into that nation building vision that I have. Yeah, open and honest. Say it like it is. No fear or favor. I'm out.
Yeah, Gaia checking out. Look, I think my learning is there's a very persuasive argument around diminishing my truth in order to serve the greater number, or to and I think that it requires an awful lot of wisdom to deliver truth in a respectful way. That and there will be some people that are put out, but anyway, my learning is that there's a very persuasive. There's a lot of very persuasive points that can be put to me to convince me not to tell the truth, and I can understand all of them. However, I'm still feeling strongly that there's this thing in me from my experience that I would still want to hold on to that truth. So my learning is there's a lot of. I'll just check out with that before I repeat myself for a third time.
Okay. So I'm going to do this quickly. My learning was how long this stuff takes, and something around when you introduce a debate, it's probably good to go for something really straightforward, like do we vaccinate or not? Because there's not so many areas where we can see both sides as trained facilitators. We might have stronger views. So there's something around when I want to bring a debate to demonstrate rather than getting to a deeper truth, I would pick a different subject. And yeah, I think the learning is that what I appreciate about today is the honesty and the fact that we could hold it and that I can trust that we will go into dialogue about it in our next session, hopefully, which we shall discuss on WhatsApp because it is now 1 minute past 11. So I appreciate that you all make the time. Thank you.
Thanks,
And
Helena.
to be honest with you guys.
Thank you, everyone. I hope you all have a nice festive season. Bongili, my invitation to you is let's take this carrot and make carrot soup.
Come again?
Let's take this carrot and make carrot soup and have a meal together.
Man, it's very important, you know. Um, I'm sure you have a good recipe for carrots. As long as you can show me, you know. Clearly, you know a lot about carrots.
I love.
I'm going to go back into the debate. I'm going to leave. I'll leave the session to you.
Bye, everyone.
Love you guys.
Bye, everyone.